So I married a film critic.
Welcome to So I Married a Film Critic. I'm your co-host, Julia.
And I'm Barry Worst, the film critic. Hello, everyone.
So we are on film number 3 of our 4-film series that your brother asked us to do.
Yes, for those of you just tuning in, my brother Marty, who is my dear brother, he's also the editor and executive producer of So I Married a Film Critic. Marty suggested that for the month of May, which is his birthday month, happy birthday, Marty! He suggested that we watch 4 films we had never heard of before, never seen a trailer for. He just wanted to just basically blindfold us, handcuff us, drop us off in the middle of the desert, wander around going, and see 4 films that we had nothing. He gave us the titles of these. I've never heard of these films. So this is number 3 in the series. The first one was called Other People with Molly Shannon. The second film was with Jack Palance and Joan Crawford called Sudden Fear. We're big fans of that one. And this is from writer-director Jeffrey Bloom. It's called Dogpound Shuffle.
You see a dog?
Dog? I seen my mother-in-law once. That's bad enough.
Start! Start! Start!
Lose your dog?
You see him?
Nah. Thought you said he waits.
He does. Spot! Spot!
Maybe he got hungry.
And he'd find something to eat and come back.
Maybe a girl dog came around. Maybe the dog catcher got him.
Let me get this right off the bat because this is pretty cool. I'm connected to Jeffrey Bloom by 3 degrees.
Wow.
You ready?
Yes.
So Jeffrey Bloom co-wrote one of my favorite horror films called Nightmares. Jeffrey Bloom wrote it with Christopher Crowe. Do you know who Christopher Crowe's cousin is?
No.
Jeff Sager, my dear roommate and dear friend from back in the day. Love you, Jeff. Yeah, Jeff and I used to talk about his cousin Christopher Crowe all the time because Christopher Crowe, co-writing Nightmares with Jeffrey Bloom is not the highlight of his career. Christopher Crowe wrote the screenplay for The Last of the Mohicans. That's like his big, badge of honor. But anyway,
and that leads us to Dogpound Shuffle.
Yes,
from
which was
1975.
Yes, written and directed by Jeffrey Bloom before Nightmares fame. An interesting career too, because his last big theatrical release, it made money, though it's not a loved film. It's the initial adaptation of V.C. Andrews' Flowers in the Attic.
Which
We have very strong feelings about that one.
Yes,
yeah.
We won't talk about that now, but we could.
Yeah, there's a lot. He's interesting. This is a filmmaker who most of his credits, a very long list of credits, is in television. But this film, and he did another movie with David Soul. He had some heat for a while as a director, but he hasn't made anything since Flowers in the Attic in 1987. But as a TV director, his career is very extensive.
Okay, well, I just want to go on the record that I found this film, Dogpound Shuffle, to be very charming and kind of sweet. So, do you want to say any of your thoughts, or you want to hold back?
I'll hold back.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll build towards it, but you liked it more than I did.
Yes, I did.
Say that much.
I did. So, okay, let's get started. So, our first character is played by Ron Moody, sorry. And his name is Steps. And I should have known that would mean he's going to be a dancer.
And this apparently was a role that they wanted Gene Kelly to play, and Kelly was unable to do it. So they got Ron Moody, who is the multi-award winner, Broadway legend and film actor who played Fagin in Oliver.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So Steps is homeless. He's a vagrant. He's living on the streets. And he has a very cute dog named Spot, which, okay, I guess it's not very original, but he has a large spot on him.
Yes.
So that's why his name is Spot.
Mm-hmm.
And the film starts off with a bunch of these vagrant homeless guys being taken to, the county jail for the night. I guess one of those homeless camp sweep type of things. And so he's worried about Spot. And we see Spot for the first time when he hears some harmonica music in the alley, and Spot gets up on his back hind legs and just like does a little dance.
Man, you were easy. You saw that and you're like, I love this movie.
Good dog acting.
Good dog acting. I'll give it that. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, nice try, movie. You got to do more than that to win me over. But you're like, take me away, Dogpound Shuffle.
I mean, he's cute.
Very cute.
Yeah. So the next day, of course, all the guys get out of jail, and Steps is looking for Spot. He can't find him. He goes to the pound. He's like explaining what the dog looks like, and they let him in to look at the dogs, and he's like, that's my dog. That's Spot. I've had him for 9 years. I mean, he's had the dog since this dog was a puppy. And the lady, she tells him it's going to be $30 to get him out, plus $2 a day for his food.
This is 1975. I'm thinking, man, this is steep.
Okay, yes.
It seems like a lot even for that.
$30 is an equivalent to $160. Don't you think that's ridiculous? For less than 24 hours, this dog has been there.
And this takes place in Vancouver. I don't know what Canadian dog leash laws were then or even now. So I have no idea how accurate this is or isn't. But it definitely jumped out at me because I'm thinking, man, like that's a lot.
Less than 24 hours. And they're like, give us all your money. And of course, Steps has, I don't know, maybe 2 pennies. He has nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this is the beginning of this movie, and
It's the setup.
It's the setup. Yeah. And so Steps meets Prit. Now, who's he played by?
David Soul.
David Soul.
The same year that he would gain television legendary status for playing Hutch in Starsky and Hutch.
Oh.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was also a one-hit wonder. He had a number 1 hit song, Don't Give Up on Us, Baby.
Oh.
Yeah.
Would that be on like the light rock 70s station?
No. That would be the light AM station that they only play in the AM between 7 a.m. and 8:45 a.m.
Oh, okay.
Because
that's why I
that
never
song
heard it.
is Velveeta cheesy, but it was a number 1 hit in the 1970s, and it was this one. And I feel like all these guys had like even like Frank Stallone had a number 1 hit. I would put him up there with like he was a Frank Stallone, except he didn't really have as many hits as Frank Stallone
because he wasn't related to Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, he needed
a famous brother to help him out.
Yeah, he needed the Italian stallion. Don't worry, little brother, I got your back. Let's put out this record. Don't worry. Let's see the last name and be like, I'll buy that record.
That's hilarious.
Cameo from Sylvester Stallone.
Okay, so Steps meets Prit, and he's like, oh, you play the harmonica. So Steps has an idea. They go, he doesn't even tell him what his idea is. He's just like, come with me. We're going to go into this bar. And when the jukebox stops, I'm going to give you the signal and you're going to start playing. And he's like, okay. And it's this young kid. So we're talking like Steps is older, in his 60s?
Sure. Yeah.
And Prit is in his 20s?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this young kid, he's kind of a dope. He's just kind of like,
Yes.
when they sit at the bar and order drinks.
He's very childlike.
Yeah. But Steps orders a beer and Prit's like, I'll have a daiquiri. And Steps is just like, that's a girl drink. Like, what are you doing? So the jukebox stops and he starts playing his harmonica, and then Steps goes out there and does a whole tap dance routine just out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, okay, this is where this movie's going.
Yeah, it's interesting because for one thing, Ron Moody apparently not a dancer, and he learned all these routines just for this film. That is a very impressive piece of trivia because these scenes are really something else. Apparently, that's not David Soul playing the harmonica, but that's certainly Ron Moody doing all this dancing.
You could tell it's not him playing the harmonica.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, no breath control. I mean, he's just bobbing his head back and forth. Yeah, it's okay, David Soul. You're, We believe you as a on the edge cop. We're not going to believe you as our harmonica impresario.
Yeah, there's one scene where I was like, oh, he's definitely not playing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's okay.
But anyway, yeah, to your point, I mean, yeah, it's like that's where we get this thing. Okay, that's what this is what the movie is. You know, we get a
Right.
feeling this is what this film is going to be like, and hence the title.
Right. So, but, you know, Steps is trying to make money to get his dog back, but that night they only make $9.60.
But what's the inflation? Did you?
No, I didn't try to
okay,
figure that
okay.
out. But
You're always doing that. Like
I know,
today would be $1,097.48. Wow, Jules. Yeah, you're always doing that. I'm always impressed when you do that.
okay, well, if $30 equals 160, just like divide it by, you know, a third.
Sure.
Okay. But
For all you math nerds out there.
yeah, but they have to split the money. Like the owner's like, hey, how much was your take? Like, they have to give him 25%.
This owner is such a schmuck. It's
Yeah.
like these guys. This is the most exciting thing that has ever happened in this tavern, and he's like nickel and diming these
He
guys. Literally,
was.
like what a you idiot, man. Like this is like how your joint is gonna get infamy.
Right. And they're like, we're never coming
blows
back
him
here.
off, yeah.
Yeah, we're never coming back here. So, Pritt offers Steps his share of the money that they make together to help him get the dog back. Like he understands how important this dog is. And, you know, Steps is like really bummed about what's going on because he's like $2 a day. They're just going to keep like the price is just going to keep going up and he's not going to be able to make the money. And I think like Pritt is so excited to have a mentor, to have somebody to like do an act with.
To have a purpose. I mean,
Yeah, to have a
these
purpose.
guys are going day to day, just trying to survive and get money or whatever
Just
whatever
money
it
to
takes to
eat.
survive. Yeah, and suddenly they have a job. But yeah, there's a heartbreaking scene where Steps goes to the pound basically to put a down payment, as you said,
deposit, yeah.
deposit to pay for dog food for the day, and he visits his dog. And the pound, in addition to this lady who is, you know, just doing her job, but at the same time fairly heartless, but there's also one of my favorite characters in the movie is this silent but imposing guy. He's basically the muscle of
I
this
think
dog
I
pound.
wrote down that like goon, you know, like dog pound goon.
He's the dog pound goon. Yeah,
Yeah.
this guy. I mean, yeah, he's like wall to wall muscle.
with
He's
really tight pants.
very well, it's the 70s. Everybody had tight pants. But yeah, I mean, he's basically just like if there's any kind of problem, she touches a button and he emerges from his cave
With like a
and-
bat
yeah.
ready to.
And you wonder like how intense is this neighborhood in Vancouver that this
Well, it's
dog
not
pound.
a very nice part of town, I don't think.
But still, like how much action is this pound getting?
Well, I don't know. That's what she said.
And that was So I Married a Film Critic. Good night, everyone.
I don't know how many people.
Just derailed this entire episode.
I'm sorry, but not really.
Our
Okay.
sterling reputation.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you want to say about the goon guy?
I think we've said it.
Oh, okay.
Tight pants, no dialogue, mean.
Mean. Yeah, I mean, once he goes and pays the $2 for the food for the day, he's expecting that, okay, they're going to hold my dog for me,
Yeah.
you know? Okay. So,
And the dog, I mean, you know, again, good dog acting. The dog clearly misses him. There's this intense bond between the two of them. They've been on the road together for some time. So we do get the immediacy of the story. I mean, this man is willing to do whatever it takes to get his dog back. And he realizes that with the help of David Soul's character, they can literally do this musical act, maybe busk enough money together to raise the funds and be on their way.
yeah, and so they, now they have a little bit of money and Pritt wants to stay in a nice place and Steps is like, no, like I have to save money for my dog. So they end up sleeping on a park bench, but Pritt asks Steps to teach him how to dance. So there are a couple scenes where he's kind of trying to teach him the steps, but I don't know. I felt like that whole part didn't really go anywhere.
Well, not only that, I mean, it's off camera. So you get the sense those scenes, maybe they didn't work or they thought like, you know, this movie's pretty tight. Let's just use the audio of those scenes and then move on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So then Pritt has the idea of let's go to a fancier hotel. Like, let's go where people have money. And they look at their clothes and Steps is like, we cannot get past the people there. Like they probably stink too. And Britt's just like, we don't look so bad. Like he just doesn't have any
just boyish
awareness.
enthusiasm.
Yeah. So, but they do try their act in a fancier place and immediately get kicked out.
In a very quirky touch, they get kicked out by twin bouncers.
Oh,
literally
yeah.
twin bouncers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, is this like, do they luck out with the extras casting, or was this just like it's in the script that it's? I don't know, it's a very, very self-consciously quirky touch, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's when they meet Mr. Lester, who finds them out in this alley, and he invites them to a private party, his private party. And he's like, how much would that cost me? And Step says $30 for each of us plus travel expenses. So, and he has to pay the travel expenses up front. I think he gives them like $10 for that. And so now I'm like, oh, good. He's going to get his dog. Like he's got the money. He just has to do this party the next night. And so they get that all arranged. And then they go to this diner. Did you like this scene where they go to this diner and Britt is just ordering? I mean, he's got like 2 entrees and you keep hearing like someone coughing in the background. And Steps looks and it's the cook just like coughing all over the food, and he's just like, oh, I've lost my appetite.
Yeah.
Yeah. The movie has some weird quirky things like that.
Yeah.
All throughout.
I mean, we're recording this during a pandemic, so I don't know how funny that joke is at the moment, but I guess in the 70s it was a laugh riot and a cook is coughing up a lung while he's cooking for people.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so they finally, they shower, they wash their clothes. They finally like try and look nice because they have a few dollars to like get this done.
Yeah.
They get a shave. And what was that weird? There was like a sign at this barber shop where it was like the magic, shaver.
It's another quirky throwaway joke where they're getting shaved and cut and groomed, and 2 barber chairs over is this barber who is shaving a balloon. The balloon is covered in shaving cream,
yeah.
and the balloon pops.
Like he takes a straight razor and like the balloon just pops, and so then everyone's like, oh.
Yeah, it's kind of
It's just so
nice
weird.
throwaway quirky touch, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so they make it to they do all this stuff and then they make it to the party, and it's this huge house. And this is when we find out that Step's suit that he wears has like, it's a suit within a suit. And so he puts on like this extra front piece that makes it look like he's wearing a tux, and then he like, it has tails like tucked up inside.
Waiting for this moment.
Yeah. And Britt just looks at his like sad outfit, and then he turns his jacket inside out to like be more fancy. I don't know, it was kind of a funny touch. Like,
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess if you don't want to travel with a lot of like extra stuff, you just have 2 suits in one.
Yeah, if anything, Prit looks twice as homeless, and Steps
Yes.
looks very dapper.
Exactly. Okay, so they go in and get themselves comfortable, and Steps notices that this house has a marble floor, and he's just like, oh, I've always wanted to dance on a marble floor. Like, this is a dream come true. But he's real self-conscious about his shoes. So he sneaks into Mr. Lester's room and puts on these really fancy patent leather shoes. And this like really bothered you.
I love it. You're making it about me. It's an iffy touch because this is a very sweet-natured film. And suddenly the characters are behaving in a way that you could say is self-destructive. And the movie is giving us suspense, but for what reason? Because we're siding with the mission, right? We want Steps to get his dog. We want them to raise money. We want these guys, whatever it is, whether it's friendship or money or both as their means of salvation, you want it. So they're screwing it up by this nonsense of going through the cabinets and looking through the rich guys. Like it doesn't matter how much money the guy does or doesn't have. Steps is suddenly acting like a criminal. And this is the first time the movie has ever positioned him that way. Mm-hmm. And it's this moment of suspense. Is he going to be discovered? Are they going to ruin their big chance? And immediately the movie bounces away from this sequence. Immediately. They're back downstairs. He has indeed stolen a new pair of shoes. And there's no reference. Again, there's no comeuppance. There's no reference to the sequence. Mr. Lester doesn't notice that his fancy shoes are now on the feet of steps. Nothing.
Right, but when we don't see him wearing those fancy shoes again, so I'm wondering if he goes and puts them back and puts back on his old ratty shoes. And
I think it's highly unlikely because they do this elaborate performance that is so well received. It's a huge hit, and everybody's applauding and suddenly giving them all this attention and adoration. I suspect all eyes are on them. I don't think he possibly could have snuck back up there without.
Yeah, but we don't know. Maybe it's on the cutting room floor.
Fine. I'll play along.
Okay, so they finally have the money. But I will say that this was a really great moment, I think, for Prit to like play his harmonica and have a band join in.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a really great scene.
It's a good sequence. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a good sequence. Do you want to talk about kind of the temperament of these characters? Because what I noticed was that Steps is either really quiet or he like is really gruff with his voice, and then when he's dancing he's got like this smile on his face, like totally turns on the charm, but he's like not a charming person.
I'll go even further. I don't like Ron Moody's performance in this movie at all.
Oh, really?
I feel like he has three layers to play: mildly crusty, and really crusty. And I think the director was like, okay, I need you to be a 3 on the crust level. I don't like this performance. I think it's such a one-note performance. He is like doing this thing with his voice the entire film. For all I know, that's Ron Moody's voice. I'm not really a fan of Ron Moody. I haven't seen Oliver since the 80s. You actually saw a production of it in Europe.
Yeah, in London.
Yeah, London. I don't think he was in that one.
No.
He might have been, though. I mean, the dude like played Fagin until the day he died.
He was alive?
I think he passed away not that long ago, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think he was like 91 years old. David Soul is still with us. Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, I was there after 2000, so I don't know.
Let's find
Oh,
out.
you're going to
He passed away in 2015.
Okay, yeah. He
Okay.
definitely was not
Okay.
in this production.
Okay, and I'm serious about this. Like, he returned to the role so many times. He's like that guy who, I should know his name, the guy who played Jesus in the movie Jesus Christ Superstar, and every couple of years he goes back and does it on stage. He's just one of these guys who's constantly returning to his signature role. But yeah, I don't like him in this movie. I don't. Yes, I am impressed that he learned the moves because the dance sequences are special. There's 2 of them, and they're very good. 3 of them, rather. And he's clearly a skilled actor, but I think this performance is so one note. And part of it is the script's problem, and I think it's part of it is his problem. To say the least, I think, had they managed to bag Gene Kelly and get him to play this role, Kelly, in addition to being one of the most charming and brilliant dancers and performers ever, I think Kelly would have found a lot more layers to play than Ron Moody does.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because David Soul, it seems like he's doing less. I think he's doing more. I think he gives a better performance. What he's doing, I mean, for one thing, he's playing a man in Arrested Development. He's a big kid. And I feel like there is a quirky and an unpredictable quality to what David Soul is doing here, especially if you've seen him in Starsky and Hutch.
And there's more of a character arc.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, there's a vulnerability there. I don't feel like we really get that from what Moody's doing in this.
Okay, so back to the plot really quick. Because they go back to the dog pound with their money. And I mean, Steps just like slaps that money on the counter and he's like, give me my dog back. And
it's so prolonged. You're like, oh god, she's gonna tell him the dog died. Like we know something awful is coming because the movie is really like really waiting, just really making us agonize over whatever the punchline is.
Yeah, so what happened was a family came in looking for a dog, and a little boy, it's like a little girl and a little boy, and the boy had, I don't know what, a radio with him.
Yeah.
And when the music came on, Spot danced for him. I got up on his little hind legs, and she said that was the only dog that these kids wanted, and now he went to a good home, and
we know this all from the monologue of the lady who's running the
exactly.
Dogpound.
And the look on Steps' face is just horrified. And she's like, "You didn't come back yesterday."
Let's be fair. It's Ron Moody's resting face, but fine. The actor looks horrified.
Okay. Well, he's clearly upset.
Sure.
I mean, this is his dog he's had for 9 years. Now has been adopted by a family.
Yes.
And so this was the moment where I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. I thought the whole movie was about him making money, and now this dog has been given away to another family.
Yeah, and there's no way of knowing where the family is. They're not giving the address. It's confidential. And not long after that, the two basically decide to break up because it's like, this isn't working. Steps realizes that Prit really needs him a lot, and the neediness is weighing on him.
Well, because he's a young kid, and he's like, because one thing that Steps always says is like, you don't know show business. I know show business. I've been doing this for a long time. He used to make a lot of money with his tap dancing.
Yeah.
And he's, I don't know, burnt out, has seen like the dark side, the underbelly of,
But Prit is, he's lost. I mean, he's the Sancho Panza to Steps' Don Quixote. He's completely lost without this guy. They need each other.
Yeah.
So the scene where Prit gets on the bus and bus is driving away and Steps is kind of watching the bus and, then he finally turns around and walks away. I'm like, man, this is fantastic. What a great movie. This is great. So end credits are going to come and man, this is like, nope, it's a good 70s movie. Like what a great sleeper. No. The movie keeps going and this is immediately where the film lost me. Everything that happens after this point, I'm like, no.
Can I just say something else about the money situation? Because what you're saying is right. But the bus ticket, $19.25. Okay. That's a lot of money. Getting the dog.
That's some serious bookkeeping on this film.
Because it was more expensive to get Spot out of the pound than it was to get a bus ticket to go to a completely different location.
So do you think perhaps the amount of money that it would take to release the dog is a contrivance of this film?
Maybe, because come on. It's less money to get bus fare.
Unless this dog pound really is like some kind of racket,
It probably is a
maybe
racket.
that is why they need muscles in the background. So it's like nobody ever gets their dog out of there.
Maybe. Yeah, because no one can afford it unless they're really rich, like this family with the 2 kids. Maybe they spend a lot of money to get Spot. Ooh. Yeah, I'm kind of liking this shady dog pound situation. Okay, so yeah, what happens next is so ridiculous.
I mean, I feel like I told you, because I know my brother doesn't. So Marty, I like the movie to this point. I swear. I'm like, this is a sleeper. This is really good. And then everything that comes after this, the third act of the movie is a Disney film. It's a total cornball Disney film because Steps goes to the pound.
Well, we don't even... Okay, I was so confused because I'm like, where's he going? Yeah. Oh, he sneaks back into the pound through like an alternative entrance.
He does like an Ethan Hunt to get... I almost said Ethan Hawke again. Oh. He does an Ethan Hunt to get into this place. And it's a little contrived. So I'm like, isn't he kind of frail? But, or whatever. He's, dancing in Electric Boogaloo. Why can't he just get into this thing? So... Yeah, so it's in the pounds, and Muscles shows up, beats the crap out of him, and wouldn't you know it, David Soul's character, Prit, just in time shows up, which just doesn't make a lick of sense, because the movie explains it that apparently he got a mile.
He got like 2 miles away.
Decided
he couldn't go.
So what I mean is like, stop the bus! So he gets off the bus, walks all the way back, and somehow knows...
He's like, ooh, I bet Steps is breaking into the pound. How the heck?
There's no way. But all the same, he's like looking through the window. It's this cute thing of like, hey, baby. So then it turns out, coincidentally, conveniently, Jeffrey Bloom, your screenplay, it turns out that Prit is a prize boxer. He could totally take Muscles. I mean, it's like...
This is the weirdest fight scene.
It's like a Mike Tyson fight scene. Like it's so ridiculous. It's ridiculous because, for one thing, David Soul, I mean, good actor, but he doesn't have the physicality to even suggest that he's up to this guy. I mean, it's like the fight in Raiders where, remember, Harrison Ford is trying to beat up the muscle shirtless dude, remember, with the mustache?
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous because, like, the guy's just, like, making mincemeat out of him. But here, like, it's a long fight scene. And by the way, David Soul is wearing, like, a flannel shirt. I'm like, did they steal it from this? Because, like, it goes on forever. And I don't know, like I guess it's impressive because it's just so it comes out of nowhere. It's very weird and random. Yeah.
And it's funny because all the dogs are barking, like they're going crazy, and Steps is like, shh, like trying to shush them.
And then
he sets them all free.
Sets them all free. It's like that scene in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Go dogs! Like all the dogs are running. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It really is. And they get the piece of paper that says where the dog is, where Spot is.
Yeah, he gets the address.
Very conveniently.
Because the goon guy before the fight, he's like, Steps is like, I just want the address. And the goon guy, like...
Very conveniently.
He's like, here it is. He crumples it up and throws it in the trash. Like, and it's like, oh,
it's like, hey, you'll never get this now that I threw it in the wastebasket right next to you.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, so the goon guy is like passed out on the floor.
He's passed out because
all the dogs have been set free.
In addition to being a one-hit wonder, David Soul can knock a dude out. Fine.
Yeah, so now all these dogs are just wandering around, and one has really taken to Prit, so now he has his own dog.
This is so weird because it's like this movie is trying to make this point about this inseparable bond between man and dog. So these guys are just like, they got tunnel vision with freaking Spot. But meanwhile, like an armada of dogs are like following them and they're just totally ignoring them. And, what
are they supposed to do? It's like 30 dogs.
Well, come on. And as they go further and further, it's down to like one dog. Meanwhile, these poor other dogs are getting hit by cars. They're like, they're like starving on the side of the road. I'm like, man, this movie is like... I am no longer in the side of this film, let alone these guys who are just like, we got to save this one dog. Screw the 29 that we saved from the pound.
Okay, the pound is going to pick them up in a couple hours anyways. They'll be back in their cages getting their $2 a day worth of food.
A better film that dealt with this very issue is Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco. That film did a better job of explaining what happens to lost dogs and actually like giving them an arc. And
wow,
this movie, like I could not believe the way it's like we care about one dog. But when it comes to 29 other dogs, screw them. They're on their own.
Okay, if it was our dog, you would not care about those 29 other dogs. You would only care.
Absolutely care about the 29 other dogs I just set free. I'm like, okay, here, like figure it out.
You'd be like, Charlotte, we're
like,
coming
come on,
to get
guys,
you.
let's go find my Maltese. Let's go.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
No, you wouldn't.
I care about animals. Yes, especially if I'd freed an entire. I would, have a sense of responsibility. But these guys are like, let's find this one dog that they never even question. The film does not question if like maybe Muscles gave them the wrong address. Maybe there is no address. Maybe he was just screwing with them. No, of course it's a movie.
Okay, but they find the house and
they're
like kind of doing a stakeout across the street.
Right, them and the one dog that's still with them. Yes.
Right. And so their whole goal is to get the door open so they can whistle, and then if Spot hears the whistle, he'll come running. So
yeah,
I don't know. Steps tries to get the lady to open the door. They're pretending to be like a salesman or something. And then Prit tries to, but like, no, she is not going to open the door for any strangers. So they're just waiting.
And can you blame her? First,
well, no, I don't blame her.
It's crusty Ron Moody. Have you seen my dog? And then a few minutes later, it's David Soul pretending to be a blind man.
Yeah, no, I don't blame her. I don't blame her.
Like, you should call the cops immediately. It was like 5 minutes later, blind dude shows up, like something clearly up.
Yeah. So, but then the husband comes home.
Yeah.
And they're like, now's our chance, because he opens the door and then they start whistling. And then there comes Spot.
Spot comes sprinting out.
And then, oh man, a truck starts coming down the road. And I am like, if this movie ends with this dog getting hit by a car, I'm going to freak out. But thankfully, he's got really good brakes and nobody gets hit by the truck.
Yeah, it's quite the moment because because
then
because again the film prolongs like what exactly happens because it's a bunch of reaction shots, and then finally we see that the truck stopped like inches from Ron Moody, who's holding up his dog like it's Simba at the beginning of Lion King.
it's so cute though because they're finally reunited. I know. And then the last scene. Oh, so then they're Steps and Prit are talking about, okay, maybe we'll travel. Maybe we'll go to Australia.
Well, no, right before that, there's this sequence of the two of them and the dog like dancing and doing their routine. Okay.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, there is the dance scene, and this is where we find out that Steps did teach this dog how to dance.
Yeah.
And do this whole routine. And so they're like on the beach and they're doing this dance, and Prit is playing his harmonica, and it's really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then they talk about going on the road together.
And they walk off, and then the end credits roll.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, that's so sweet.
Sure. So here's the thing. There's a film that came out not long before this, and it's called Scarecrow, and it's with Al Pacino and Gene Hackman about two homeless guys who are wandering around together. Like, I feel like this is the feel-good Disney version of that movie, which is Gene Hackman still considers Scarecrow to be his finest performance, and I don't argue that with him. And that's a tougher, far more dynamic film, I think, dramatically. This movie just softens its edges every possible opportunity it has. And it's just like it's too scrappy to be a family movie.
Yeah, I was just saying it's not really a kid movie.
Who's this film for exactly? I mean, look, when Mr. Lester shows up and he's like, "I want you guys are great. I have a private party that I want you guys to play with." My eyes wide shut antenna went right up. I'm like, what kind of party is this going to be? No, it turns out Mr. Lester is the nicest guy in the world. Really trusts these two homeless guys to do the upstanding right thing. And hey, you guys, I'm glad you made it. Here, have a drink, enjoy. Here's some hors d'oeuvres, and this is the plan. I'm thinking, really, movie like nothing nefarious. There's no drugs at this party.
Yeah. And he's like, maybe you'll get some more gigs out of this.
Gee, really, movie? And then there's a thing about stealing his shoes. There's no comeuppance there. The thing is, I stopped rooting for these idiots. I stopped rooting for Steps and Prit after. I mean, by the time we get to the third act, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm rooting for now because. I mean, for one thing, they're so unlikable because clearly David Soul's character...
I'm going to root for the bad guy all the time.
David Soul's character is unstable. He's endearing because he's childlike, but there's something wrong about him. He's like Lenny from Of Mice and Men. It's like, yeah, I get why the brother shot him. Like, there's something wrong with this dude. And then, and Steps is just like, again, like it's Ron Moody just like... just cragging his way through this role. So, like, what the heck are we rooting for here? Like, this dog, as it's been, plainly not shown, like a movie should show us. No, this movie tells us that the dog is taken to a family that loves it, will care for it, and we're rooting for Steps, this homeless guy, to get his dog back? No.
Hey, you know what? It has been widely, reported that homeless people can take care of pets and that they have a better life when they have an animal.
Another film I'm going to reference is a film called Wendy and Lucy. It's one of Michelle Williams' best performances. It's about a woman who loses her dog in a small town. She has no money and all she wants is to find her dog. That movie has guts. It is devastating and beautiful, and it ends in a way that's smart and practical and realistic. This movie could learn so much from that, but of course, Wendy and Lucy came decades later, so it's, I guess, neither here nor there. But anyway, there's a lot of examples of how to do this kind of film, and I just feel like this is just... The edges of this movie have been totally sawed off. There's a lot of movies, dealing with homeless people or with vagabonds or transients or however you want to identify them, and I feel like this is one of those problem movies where it's just too much of a fantasy.
But it's about two men who find each other because of extenuating circumstances, and they give each other a second chance at life, making something of their life. Because, like Prit says, like, it'd be nice to not have to, like, worry about where I'm going to get my next meal. And so they take their talents and they put them together. And the dog is part of their act.
No, I'm sorry. I don't buy it. I'll do The Fisher King, which is one of my favorite films, probably my favorite movie to deal with the homeless issue, because there are things about that film that are romanticized, but that film is also so edgy and so tough. And this movie, like, it's the opposite side of that problem, because lately there have been movies where famous people are playing homeless people. And it's a problem when you've got someone like Richard Gere playing a homeless person. It's like, no, Richard Gere, you still look like... And there was one with Jennifer Connelly, and I'm like, Jennifer Connelly still looks amazing. You are like the most glamorous homeless person ever.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's a problem when you can't believe, just... There's some movie stars that are
like
just...
these guys are believable.
They're believable, but the characters are not believable. I just feel like there's not enough. There's not enough there.
Okay,
this
but we don't know.
Sketch.
Yeah, but we don't know how long they've been homeless. They probably haven't been homeless their entire lives.
Well, yeah. I agree with you. I don't think they were born homeless. I don't know. The opening scenes were effective at establishing the mood of the film, because the film does have a very droll sense of humor. But I don't feel... I mean, I feel like David Soul really has a lot to work with. I feel like Ron Moody is playing the same notes.
Okay, how would you end it? Alternative ending.
I would end it immediately where the bus drives away and Steps is kind of looking out in the distance, kind of questioning what's going to happen. And boom, end credits.
Wow.
Because these guys, their
That
experience...
would make the movie like an hour.
Okay. Fine. I don't care. That's fine. Because this experience that they had is so remarkable, what they were able to do when they worked together. And the dog is going to be fine because it's taken care of by a family that loves it and is going to care for it and take care of it. And these two will never forget each other.
But is Steps going to be fine without his dog? 9 years.
This is going to be just a moment for these guys.
But that dog is always going to remember Steps and be sad.
Well, he could always go over to the shelter and free 29 dogs and pick one of those to love and care for. But no, they'd rather just like ransack the place and then completely ignore those dogs, which are now like, going to be homeless like them on the streets.
Oh my gosh. The only thing I would change, more dog dancing. I would want more dog dancing. Yes, more Spot. He's so cute. I think they should have rescued him earlier, and then we saw a little bit more of that.
I feel like this movie, it doesn't quite give the audience exactly what it wants, but then it settles for just a mega happy ending that I don't feel it deserves. My other idea for an alternate ending is that the film would clearly establish, because I'm like, I bet this is a possibility, but the ending where it turns out that Steps is holding his dog like Simba and they've escaped the truck by inches, the truck actually hit them. And everything that happens afterwards is the last thing that goes through Steps' mind. This is his fantasy before, that he walks off into the great white cloud.
Wow, and they go to heaven together?
Sure.
All right, well, I'd be okay with that. As long as they're together.
As long as they're together.
As long as they're together.
Yeah, by the way, I mean, never mind about that poor kid with the radio who like adopted this dog to love and take care of in his home.
We never even see that kid.
We never see the kids, and because the movie knows, like, oh man, once we show the crying kid, we're gonna lose it. We're gonna lose him.
Yeah, because nobody wants to see a crying kid and give the dog back to a grouchy old man. That's not gonna be a crowd pleaser.
I mean, what is going on here? Like, because it's established that the husband of the house is watching this whole thing unfold. Is he just like, okay, bye, glad someone's gonna take care of this dog?
I don't know. Maybe he's like, thank God, all my kid does is play music for this stupid
Can't
dancing
stand
dog.
This dog always on two legs.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe it's bugging him, and so he just lets it go. Oh, I don't know. It just ran off. I don't know what happened to your dog. Yeah. We can go. Then they're like, we can go back to the pound, and then they go back to the pound, and it's empty, and they can never adopt another dog. There's your dark ending.
Are you kidding? It means that corrupt pound is now out of business. That's great.
Yeah.
And it's just Muscles just sitting there like, I got nothing to do.
Yeah.
I don't have anybody to push around.
Oh, what? I need to get a new job so I can buy more tight pants.
It's the 70s, Jules. Everybody had tight pants.
No, not steps.
Burt Reynolds once said that if in the 70s, if he wore a pair of jeans that he could fit a dime into, he would find a tighter pair of jeans. That's a direct quote from Burt Reynolds when he was the top star in the world in the 70s.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, how many stars?
2.5.
2.5?
I'll be generous because
Okay.
it's great for an hour, and then it just
Falls apart for you? Yeah. Okay, well, I give it 3 stars.
okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a sleeper most of the way, and to give the movie credit, I mean, and I'm a sucker for this. Anytime a movie can do this, I didn't know where it was going.
Yes.
There is a sense of the unpredictable here,
I
which is
didn't either.
refreshing. It really is, and yeah, there's some engaging work, and I do like the interplay with the actors, even though I feel like one of the actors is better than the other. It's a sleeper for the most part, and I just feel like the third act of this movie is just it feels like the screenwriting machine takes over. Whereas like the first 2 acts, it doesn't feel like it's dictated by mainstream tastes, you know?
Okay.
And then the third act is like, no, we got to wrap this up. We want people walking away
And
happy.
we got it to be happy. We have to have it be happy.
The muscles has to be established as the villain who must be defeated in a boxing fight. And all those dogs are going to be let free like the ending of Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we're gonna rescue Spot, and Steps are gonna be together. They're almost gonna get hit by a truck, but then they aren't. And oh gosh,
All right.
this is like one of those, like, if this was a screenwriting class, the guy would be like, "Okay, great. No, oh no."
Yeah.
Yeah,
You would definitely give that an F.
it's an A script until it turns into a C+ script, and I feel like it's a C+ movie. There's greatness in this film. It is a sleeper. And thank you, Marty, because I've never heard of this film, and you know, I find Jeffrey Bloom's body of work really entertaining, so I'm glad I saw it. But yeah, man, I feel like there's a great movie in there, and it's totally clipped by the ending.
Okay. Well, there you have it. That is our conversation of Dogpound Shuffle from 1975. You can watch it on Tubi. Tubi.
Or not to be.
Oh my gosh.
That is the question.
No.
Whether 'tis noble in mind is.
Oh gosh. This is no. I don't know what you're doing.
The to be or not to be sonnet
No.
from Hamlet.
No, I know what it is, but no. TBI. Tubi TV.
That's like a joke that could have been in Dogpound Shuffle.
Okay. All
So
right.
I know you like this movie. I'm very on the fence about it.
Yeah, I liked it.
All right.
Yep. I don't know that I would watch it again, but I liked it. Yeah.
I would watch it for 58 minutes
Okay.
and then turn it off and go, that was a great film. Never mind that there's 20 more to go that don't work.
Okay. Well, there you have it. All right. Well, we hope you check it out.
Check it out, folks. It is a sleeper, but don't watch all of it.
No.
Abandon
Stop.
ship
No.
at the 15-minute mark.
No.
You'll thank me
Watch
for
the
it.
rest so you can see the dog dancing. It's worth it. You need to see Spot do his dance.
Or you could just watch Beverly Hills Chihuahua. There's a lot of dog dancing in that.
Is there?
Chihuahua.
Oh my
Oh yeah.
gosh. All right. All right. We're going to end this before it completely goes off the rails. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Good night, everyone.